Today, we're doing something a little different. Our source material isn't some dense article or a complex study. Nope, it's the actual request that kicked this whole thing off. We're going to turn the camera around on ourselves and break down the single sentence that became our entire assignment.
This is it. This is our entire source, one sentence, which you can see here in both the original Urdu and its English translation. This is our whole case file, our one and only clue. So our job is to unpack every single word to figure out what the person who wrote this really wanted.
So yeah, we're basically staring at a one-sentence mystery. Kind of wild, right? The challenge is to somehow build the explainer you're watching right now from this incredibly short prompt. How do we pull enough meaning out of this to create a whole analysis? Well, let's start the investigation.
To crack this, we have to think like detectives. We're going to deconstruct the clues, breaking this request down piece by piece. Every single word matters here, and as you're about to see, they actually paint a surprisingly detailed picture.
Okay, let's start with the original Urdu text. Just look at how dense that is. Only 4 words to carry an entire idea. That kind of efficiency, that conciseness, that's our first clue right there. It sets the stage for everything that follows.
Now, when you do a direct translation into English, we get our 4 key terms: new, notebook, podcast video, and guide. This isn't just a random shopping list of words, this is the evidence we're going to be working with.
Let's kick things off with the word guide. Now, this word tells us a ton. This isn't a request for some rambling opinion piece. It signals a real need for structure, for clarity, for something with an educational purpose. The user wants to create something that actually helps people.
Okay, next up, the user specifies both podcast and video. And you might think, wait, aren't those different things? Well, yeah, but that's the point. This isn't a mistake, it's a feature. They're picturing this rich media experience that has the easy conversational feel of a podcast, but also the visual punch of a video.
And now, for the big one, the subject itself, notebookLM. This gives us the all-important what. So, for context, notebookLM is an AI-powered research and writing tool from Google. This tells us our user wants to make a guide about a very specific piece of tech. And the word new? Well, that just tells us they want it to be up to date.
Okay, so let's take a step back. We've gathered our evidence. We know the user wants a structured educational guide about a specific AI tool. But when you put all these clues together, what's the real story here? What's the intent hiding behind these words?
Now we get to the really fun part of the investigation. We're shifting gears. We're moving away from just analyzing what was said, and we're trying to figure out why it was said. We're looking for the goal, the human intent that sparked this whole thing.
You can almost trace their thought process. First, they know something about this tool, notebookLM. Second, they think that knowledge is valuable and they want to share it with other people. So third, they choose the guide format to make it super clear. And fourth, they specify video to get it in front of as many eyes as possible. It's a pretty logical path.
And that's the key. When you boil it all down, when you strip away everything else, the core desire is simple. It's to educate and explain. That's the fundamental goal here. It's a wish to empower other people with what you know.
Which brings us to the fascinating, kinda tricky challenge we faced. How do you create an explainer when your source material is literally just an instruction? How do you build a whole analysis when there's no actual information in the prompt to explain?
Let's break down the rules of the game we had to play by. 1. The source is a request, not a topic. 2. We can't just go out and add our own outside research. 3. We absolutely have to honor the user's wish for a guide. And 4. Whatever we make still has to be interesting and informative. That is a really tough spot to be in.
So, faced with all these constraints, with all these rules, we realized there was only one, just one, viable path forward that wouldn't break any of the rules.
And here it is. The solution was to turn the lens inward. We decided to make the request itself the topic of our explainer, to show step by step how you can deconstruct even the shortest prompt to find its real meaning.
So, in a really cool kind of meta way, this explainer is the guide. By breaking down the prompt and showing you how we extracted all this meaning, we're delivering on that core desire to educate and explain. We fulfilled the request,
by explaining the request.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? This whole exercise tells us something really important about what actually makes up a message. It's so much more than just the words on a screen. It's this mix of intent, context, and how we interpret it all.
Think about it like this. The literal words someone uses, that's just the starting point. It's actually the smallest piece of the puzzle. To really get what someone means, you have to look higher, at the context surrounding those words, and most importantly, at the intent, the goal that's driving the whole conversation.
You know what brings to mind that classic quote from George Bernard Shaw? It's so easy to just see the words and think, yep, got it, communication happened. But real understanding means we have to push past that illusion and actually look for what's underneath.
Ultimately, the lesson from our little one-sentence mystery is pretty simple. As communicators, our real job is to always be listening for the why, to look past the surface of the words and connect with the real goal behind the message.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. In our world of AI, instant messages, and super-fast communication, where context gets lost all the time, what is our own personal responsibility to dig deeper and really understand the intent behind a message? Something to chew on. Thanks for watching.